Okay, so
I like it.
Slavic vampire. Somewhere in Eastern Europe, Slavic region. Yeah, I think we can just generalize it. I don't think it's going to matter too much.
Yeah.
Especially if it's 1700s. My knowledge there is not very strong.
Yeah, who cares? It's vampires.
In the 1700s, and you're in a ruined castle. I'm assuming the ruined castle is quite remote, perhaps overlooking like an old village or something.
For sure. The old haunted castle on the hill thing.
Yeah, I'd go for that too. Yeah.
Okay. Right, so yes, your Kote comes into the scene in your castle. You've returned from wherever you were out doing something. And when you return, the rest of your clan, as large or small as they are, have been slain, staked. There's burnt bodies, beheaded. Someone is torn through them all, and the elder vampire, the leader of your clan, several thousand years old, is there just like a shriveled corpse with one hand like sticking out, with fresh blood between their claws. The scene of decimation is just before the three of you as you arrive. So I guess what do you do when you walk in and see this?
Probably first check if everyone is indeed dead, if there is any survivors.
Probably checking to see if there's any like remains or tracks of whoever was responsible. Perhaps like find a lead on where they went.
Yeah, so basically scoping the place out to see if there was any sort of trace.
I think this is probably closer to blood, because you're like tracks, scent, sniffing, looking for clues, that kind of stuff. Or like bloodhounds almost. Okay, I mean, if you're all doing it and you're helping each other, let's just say you've got like 1 dice each. In fact, is there any risk here? Is there any point in us doing that? Yeah, okay, yeah, roll 1 dice each. And you're going to want to roll underneath your number. Now, to roll, if you click on the dice rolls channel, you could do /R, and a little box will come up, and you can put in which dice you want to roll, and it's just 1d6. So I will demonstrate.
And our goal is to roll under, so I have to roll like a 1.
It says if you're using blood, you want to roll under your number.
Okay.
So I passed.
Yeah, I asked.
That seems backwards, right?
Yeah, that feels more like a failure.
I think maybe it's like the opposite side.
Yeah, I think they've got that mixed up.
Yeah. Because it sounds a lot like the chaos theory from my game.
Yeah, it's lasers and feelings, same thing.
Yeah.
The aristocrat suddenly is able to be like better than the blood.
Yeah.
So we'll switch that around. You want to roll over your number.
Okay, well I passed, so.
It's not like me roll.
Okay, so you in dice rolls, Laura, yes?
I'm in dice rolls.
Okay, so /R, just type that into the box.
I type /R.
Yeah, and then does it not show you like a little message box?
No.
/R space.
So what's the result? Is it just like roll? Okay, mine's 1, so yeah.
I was just going to post what it should look like, but yes.
Yeah, she.
So Griff does not. What does? So you barely manage it. Yes, I guess you're going around sniffing, sensing, perhaps even like tasting the blood that's kind of like been spattered on the walls or such. And it's vampire blood that you can taste on the walls, on the grip of the talons of your elder. So whoever's done this, at least a vampire must have been involved at some level.
Yeah, I'll relay that to the others. Seems like either we were betrayed by one of our own or someone else gathered up some human hunters.
Trying to think. Who did we
Did
piss
we
off the
know-
most recently?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or did we, are we, what's called, do we have any connections with anyone in the, that lives locally in the vampire world.
Well, I'd ask you guys, do you have like a rival clan or any vampire enemies in the proximity?
The vampire pixies.
What are vampire pixies?
Vampire pixies are like they're like half pixie, half vampire.
So half fae, half vampire.
Yes.
Oh Jesus, that's fucking scary.
Is that like an individual or is it like a group?
It's a small group.
All right. So presumably, as sort of half fae, they are beings that you have sought out to exterminate in the past.
Yes. But in all fairness, they are a half our size.
I'm going to say, in terms of setting, this is like just post the war between like Russia and Sweden.
Okay.
Damn you, Finland.
A lot of early 1700s kind of wars that happened.
If anything, it could be kind of a ironic twist that we had kicked the Fae off their, like, maybe they lived in the surrounding forest and we sort of forced them out when we came in and took over.
Yeah, that would be.
Is that clearing the forest as like part of the industrialization and just like clearing it ahead of time for buildings and stuff? Roads, railways, maybe?
Yeah, could be.
Do you have any other vampiric foes?
Probably some form of like ancient feud that the Elder had with another clan. You know, if it's the Elder, it probably predates all of us by many hundreds of years.
Okay.
There's
feel
always been a
like-
feud.
Feel like we could take someone like, you know, what's the name of that Dracula guy, the main Dracula guy in Dracula called?
Dracula.
You know, like, I know he's Dracula, but what's his? You know, he has that Vladimir, isn't it? So it could be we have like beef with Vladimir.
Well, I was going to say if you've got an ancient feud with another clan, a clan led by Adela, who's like a countess of a neighbouring region.
Yeah. And if we still need some more vampire enemies, we could always go for the classical werewolf.
Yeah.
Another blood clan.
Well, they would be obviously like lichens, not necessarily vampires then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we can definitely have those are like another enemy that might have something against you. Obviously, the church are always doing crusades and inquisitions against demons and such. And then there would just be guilds of hunters whose mission is just to, you know, eliminate your species.
For sure.
These are all possibilities, but with vampire blood actually being present, you know the vampire's involved somewhere. Okay, so you have this blood, indeterminate, but you know, so vampire origin. Where do you go from here with your scene? You know, it's nighttime still, but dawn is coming. So where he's going to go, what he's going to do.
Well, we can't stay here. I mean, they've already ransacked and torched the place. If anything, they'd be looking for any stragglers like us to come back, so it's already risky just standing here.
Just wondering, because all the vampires are dead, are there any we don't recognize? Like any strangers amongst them, or is it all our kin?
And there's signs that, you know, others have been slain in the battle, but those bodies have been taken away. And you can see where, you know, the blood in the ground where they've been dragged away. And when it comes to,
Probably.
you know, piles of ash, that's impossible to tell, like, who that belonged to. The elders is there semi-complete because he's just so ancient.
I mean, maybe we could attempt to hide somewhere in the village or in the forests. Either way, we can't stay here.
Yeah, I think like maybe in the forest, because that's like you can easily hide in the forest, can't we? So, or maybe in the actual village, because I'm thinking there's gonna be like light there, and you know, like we don't have the best of, we don't have our night vision, so maybe the forest is like the worst place. Maybe the village is better for that. And just keep to the shadows. What does everyone else think?
Sorry, I was distracted for a moment. Could you repeat that?
I was saying because we don't have night vision. I think like the forest is like the worst place because you know we could be attacked by anything. Whereas I think the village, because it's got light, we can just go in the sort of shadows.
Yeah, I think the village might be the best spot. At the very least, that way, you know,
So
fuck, I forget what name you settled on for the Inquisitive. Anyway, the Inquisitive can maybe charm their way into the
Rohina.
finding clues or whatever. Rahina, okay.
Sure. So there's gonna be a large village or small town, just maybe a mile down the road from the ruins of the old castle. These are people that you have fed on, probably people who fear you, and you know they don't tend to go out at night. So they're all inside their homes, doors locked, windows bolted, for certain. Maybe the odd candlelight flicker can be seen between the shutters of someone who's like stayed up because they cannot sleep, or they're trying, you know, they're trying to keep an eye on their family while their family sleep or something like that. But it's not going to be a wealthy town. It'll be definitely be like a poor town.
trying to
Probably
think, like,
mostly farmers.
what information we could potentially gather from them. I'm trying to think like how. Also, how would we feed? Is it just more like randoms that we have? So that's why they're terrified indoors. Do we raid out a house every so often?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm sure there's all sorts of boogeyman stories of like, now if children behave, otherwise the things that live in the castle on the hill will come and get you. And then they do. Also, I'm picturing that as we're moving through the town, I'm picturing that scene from Lord of the Rings with the wraiths moving through that one village. And everyone's just like hiding and hoping.
Yeah, I mean, being, you know, masters of creeping in the shadows that yous are, yous could probably move around the town unseen and unheard quite easily. And at speed, obviously, because you have tremendous speed.
Just your brother went out to get food one day and never came back.
I mean, yeah, Vamp's gotta eat.
So yous are down in this
Well,
town, moving around, you know, it's probably later in the night, I'd imagine. So it's probably not far from dawn, maybe an hour or two at most.
Well, okay. We definitely need shelter from the sun, first and foremost, and we also need to like track down who's responsible. So maybe someone in our village knows something. Maybe someone in this village even ratted us out.
There's always a
Do
chance of
we
that.
have any sort of friends in, you know, like, do we have any sort of minions, as in people that live in the village that we can like
That
call upon?
that is where you are, and given the proximity to your base. I think that's something you can determine. How you feed, how often you feed, how aware they are of it. If you have like thralls, familiars, that kind of thing.
I imagine there's
suspect-
probably like some members of authority in the village that we more or less have like a, you know, okay, you're safe. You and all yours are safe, but you know.
I mean, if this is our prime feedstock area, I imagine that we've got several key people that are thralls in some capacity to allow us to feed on potentially the odd traveler that comes through, rather than depleting the entire village. Like, we've been
Oh
vampires
yeah.
for a long time, so I
Yeah,
imagine this has
like
been
you get like one of the sort of minion people that would just like go out hunting for someone and bring them back.
Yeah, probably a little bit more sustainable.
So they bring people in for you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
at the very least going like, oh, we've know this fantastic tour. If you go up to the castle,
Yeah, right. And then they, then they just immediately just run as soon as they dump them there.
So do you think maybe?
Breakfast and lunch.
Do you think maybe then you have like the magistrate or the head of the town is the one that is like your primary like contact?
I think so. I mean, it makes the most sense. We would definitely wouldn't want some random, you know. We, it makes more sense for us to dominate the authority figures than to, you know, have them be their own person.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Helps us maintain control of the rest of the cattle.
I like desperately looking up Lithuanian names.
Honestly, I'm not gonna tell the difference.
So it's the head magistrate of this town is Edvardus Kleiser.
I wouldn't wonder, it could be like apostles, like all of a sudden, in the middle of Israel, we've got Luke, James, Luke, and John, Matthew.
Oh, I mean, a lot of them are like biblical names, but they are Slavic versions of them, which is the difference. Yeah, so Edvardus, is he like a willing cooperative, or is he just being like subjugated?
I mean, probably as willing as anyone. Whenever
He's like came to you sniveling or just with greed and ambition in his eye, and he's like came to you and offered these services and uses his power and stuff to like manipulate the others in the town. Or is it more like just out of sheer fear that he's forced to cooperate with you all?
Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah, no worries. I don't know. I'm kind of cool with either him being willing and ambitious or just subjugated and in fear.
I think subjugated and fear is probably best as well.
Okay, so you go through the town, the village, and it makes sense for you to go like straight to his dwelling, which is
Yes.
a slightly more impressive looking household adjacent to the townhouse. At the head of the village.
Yeah.
And
I'll let.
there you go.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, on you go.
I was just gonna say I'll let Rowena go for the front door, and I'll slip around the back end and just make sure that nothing dodgy's happening anywhere from the outside. See what I can see.
Okay, so you approach this building. The doors are bolted, the windows are shuttered closed. You can probably see like a faint light from inside because Edvardus, he knows he can be called upon by those in the night, and that means that he does not sleep well.
Oh, Rowena will, sort of slides up to the door and sort of chaps away at it, probably in a sort of a singy rhythm with the knocking, like like dun 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 dun. There's something along those lines. It's very clear.
Yeah,
He
playfulness
would
to
know
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few moments, and then with your keen ears, you can probably hear the footsteps, the heavy footsteps of a mortal. And then the clunk, clunk, and then he doesn't even bother to like look out and see who it is. He just like unlocks the door and opens it. And of course, you've been invited into this place before, so you could enter anytime you wish. It's merely a formality that you even bother knocking.
For sure. Power move.
Edvard answers as he normally does in night. He has a kind of dark red robe hanging over him. You're guessing he's probably just in his long johns underneath that. You can see the tiredness and the life that's just been drained out of his features from too many sleepless nights, too many bloodied horrors that he's had to witness and just stand idly by. He's a defeated, shriveled, weak and frightful man. And he just holds a little candle shaking in one hand as he opens the door for you. My lady. And he just gives you a little bow. How can I be of service?
Oh, Edvard, thank you. I just need to come in and talk to you about a few things. As she, rubs her fingers as she's approaching in through the house and looking around and going, oh, you keep it such a quaint place. I have a few important things I need to discuss with you. Did you see a large crowd of people coming to the castle? That is, obviously.
He stands by the door and you've just like glided in past him. He's nervously looking outside. Are you alone, milady?
He sort of smiles and looks outside. Oh, I have some company. And just sort of smiles at the door.
Should I leave the door open for them, milady, or?
I think this is up to like the others, like if they're wanting to come in or not. If after a couple of seconds, like if they don't appear.
I really just want to walk out of a shadowed corner already inside the room.
It's Catherine.
I don't think it would be necessary. They're already here.
I mean, yous are so fast as well. I mean, there could just be like a whiff of air past his face, and yous are like in the room anyway.
Like 1 second he blinks, there's a breeze, and all of a sudden there's now 3 vampires in his living room.
Yeah, and this is something that never fails to unsettle him as well.
Like Rohina's just standing there very still, like she moved very slowly in, and then as he's looking, is like, "Is there anyone in?" And just Rohina's like, "They're already all here." And as he turns, there's the two of you.
You human, you are so attractive.
Yes, thank you, lady. And he like closes the door over gently, probably wondering to himself why he's even bothering. How can I be of service to you this evening? You asked if I have seen others. I have. You're the first I have seen this evening.
You have had no commotion, no crowds, no large groups coming through the village. Why is my accent changing so many times?
I was thinking about my accent as well.
This is the problem with doing voices, trying to maintain it. That's why I don't bother with.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to figure out what the fuck the Eastern Europeans do.
No, I don't think I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do normal accent.
I barely maintained Irish.
I mean, see if you imagine a very stereotypical, heavy, like Dracula accent, that's Lithuanian.
Yeah.
That's literally what it sounds like.
Fair enough. Just pretend that's what we all sound like.
Yeah. He's like quivering because he doesn't like being the subject of questions by vampires. It makes him feel vulnerable. And you can probably all smell the fear off of him through the sweat that's pouring out of his pores. As he trembles and answers this, "No, milady, I have heard no one since the sun fell this evening. I've been in the study reading all night. Not a soul has passed by, as far as I'm aware."
As he's speaking, she probably has turned her back to him and sort of walked and looking at her colleagues, her other vampire clan kinsman, I guess. Kinsman's probably the better term.
Can I not see anything? Because, like, you know how I'm the seer, can I not, like, touch his arm and see if I can, if anything comes to me?
Yes, you can, and you would have 2 dice for doing that. That's going to
Okay.
be probably closer to the wine, so you probably want to roll under your number.
How do you do that? Sorry, I'm really terrible at this.
Just a /R2d6. Well, /R space, and then the box will pop up and then you're getting 2d6.
Yeah.
Damn, you did it too quick. If you put /R and then space, you'll see like a box pops up that says message, like Madeline shows there, and then you type it in there. There you go.
Thanks.
I'm honestly looking at this and it's just weird. Yeah, you touch him and his mind is just like filled with fatigue and fear, a long, deep sense of guilt that he feels about what's happened to this town under his stewardship, and just like confusing, flashing images of like grief and despair that have like filled his life in these past few years. But there's nothing there that gives you a clue as to what might have happened this night.
Oh, poor man. You need to get some sleep. That's what you need.
I love to serve milady. I will sleep when the sun rises.
I
Trying to-
sort of like hovel them over, just like hither them over, and say, nothing from him. He's innocent. So it's in them sort of whispers.
Oh, you know why this is the wrong way round? Because I've had it the wrong way round. Blood is high and wine is low. So if we just but if we just play it reversed, it's fine.
Yeah, it's doesn't mean anything.
It gets the same result.
Exactly.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
So I whisper to him, whisper to them both that everything's fine. He knows nothing about this, so he's fine.
So it wasn't, at the very least, ordained by our thrall here. Doesn't mean the rest of the village isn't harboring the slayers. And there's still the matter of the elders' hands being stained with vampire blood.
Well, sir, if you do hear anything, please let us know, as it will be very fortuitous for you.
Yes, of course, milady. I'd love to serve.
In the meantime, perhaps we should take shelter here for the dawn.
That seems perfectly reasonable.
He looks up, confused look on his face, but he doesn't say anything right away.
You have the basement, yes?
Yes, of course, milady. It looks as if he's going to ask something, and then he decides better of it, and he just simply reaches beneath his robe and produces a set of keys. He makes his way to the rear of the living room kitchen, and opens up a door underneath the stairs, which leads down into the basement. You can immediately all smell the mustiness, the damp, musty smell coming from down there.
You will give us the key so that we can.
That's not necessarily necessary.
I just kind of holds the key there, not sure if he's going to give it to you or not. But it's there if you want to, you can just swipe it from him.
Just going to curl my really long, spider fingers over the hand and the key and just just pat it and say, "You keep that. Keep us safe."
You can hear his heart rate increase as you like touch him. Of course, sire. Will you be requiring anything else?
I
That is-
mean, I don't think so. Not at the moment. We just need a place to sleep.
it will alert us if someone decides to open the basement, or if you hear anything different.
He's nodding, cold sweat at the same time. It's like, of course, milady, of course.
Yes, he knows the consequences if anything should happen to us.
Yeah, and imagine he just like nervously, just like instinctively, just like rubs the base of his neck where he's got this big scar from where somebody's like raked their nails across his throat previously when he's been disobedient.
Reno probably heads down, waits for the others to come in, because this is not helpful.
So it's not a large basement. It's been dug out and expanded to accommodate, in case of emergencies. There's a number of boxes full of earth here for resting in. But other than that, it's quite sparse. There's maybe a table with papers and inkwells. There's not really much else.
I still think it would be best for resting this evening that at least one of us keeps watch on the thing. We can't. We had plenty more defenses at home, and they all got massacred.
I agree. I'll take the first watch.
Very kind of you.
I'll take second.
So, I mean, we're assuming that you need to rest during the day. You can't be exposed to sunlight. But if you can take watch, you don't need to rest all day. Is that correct?
Probably. I imagine it's really hard for us to stay awake during the day. Like,
Yeah, you're
like
in a
it
weakened
takes like
state.
physical. Yeah, we're in our weakest state, and so it's just more like incredibly exhausting just to stay awake.
I imagine also it's like just a maintaining of resources. Like, we don't necessarily sleep just so much as just the body just slows down significantly.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah,
You
like
just
most
die.
nocturnal creatures, your metabolism is a lot slower and stuff at night. Or during the day, rather.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the two of you, make rest in the beds of earth. Rom, you are standing guard beneath the stairs that lead down into the basement. You can hear the door being locked, as you like descend down, and you can, hear the sounds of the Edvard going upstairs back to his chamber. And before long, you can even hear him snoring as the sun rises and the day begins. Like I said, it gets harder and harder for you to stay up during the day. Just when you're kind of at that the peak, sort of midday, where you're feeling like you really need to switch with one of your colleagues here. At just that point, you hear horses, several of them drawing carts, and you can hear the yells of men outside.
Can I hear at all what they're saying, or?
Yes, you can clearly hear them yelling to each other. They're like, and yelling at people in the village. They're saying, "Are there any here? Are they sleeping? If any of you are keeping them safe, you will be tried for your crimes."
I am going to try. Is there any way that if I used my ability to control vermin that I could see what they see?
You do not have. You could just tell me, because when you control vermin, you just have control to do what you want with it.
Okay, so it is like that. Okay. Yeah, I would like to just sort of try to summon up what strength I have and just sort of push my will out to whatever rat might be in the village and see if they have eyes on what these men look like.
Okay, so you want to use your power, which will desate
Yeah.
you, to as spies. That's the role you want them to do, the action.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, this place is swarming with rats, this town. In fact, you probably make sure of it by leaving
Yeah.
like corpses and stuff lying around for them to feast on. And you're watching these men from, you know, a multitude of angles, spaced all around the village. You can see there's three like wagons, horse-drawn. They're emblazoned with the insignia of the church, the Orthodox Church. You can see the men themselves are wearing the robes that you've come to associate with, like the Inquisition, those that are sent out by the church to destroy demons and vampires. And you can see them, you know, like really roughshoding over some of the villagers, pushing them against walls, searching them, stealing their trinkets and belongings, busting their way into homes, you know, upturning tables and opening up cupboards and pulling up cellar doors. And it's probably only a matter of time before they make way. There's probably some already outside the main townhouse banging on the door. But your loyal servant upstairs, Edvardus, is just remaining like hidden. Yeah, your little rat that's under the bed's watching them, and he's just kind of crouched down behind the window, trying to just pretend that he's not in.
Yeah, feeling now particularly weak and hungry. I'll bring myself back into my own body and just sort of hobble over to Rowena and try to wake her. Fill her in on the situation.
Imagine
It's
it's
the
one of those
church.
looks, and it's just like, to be expected. We should have exterminated them a long time ago. But oh, it's just too easy to feed. It's
What's
just Rowena
happening?
just sort of wiggles her hands and just sort of moans about it.
What is happening?
The church. It's the church. They're searching the village.
Oh, those crafty churchgoers. What are they like?
Bitter. Very, very bitter.
They're not very tasty too.
Well, it's hard to enjoy your food whenever you're on fire, so
Yeah.
thankfully right now our pet is keeping them away, pretending that he's not here. But they're rather insistent on finding all of us.
Can we look and see in the sort of basement? Is there a sort of latch for like maybe the sewers or something like that? The sort of sewers.
Sewers. I don't think a village or town of this size would have a proper sewer system. If anything, it'd be like a very basic one, like shallow trenches dug under some of the houses,
Yeah.
you know, leading to a communal sort of septic tank type area. More likely they would
The
have
gong pit.
outhouses. More likely they would just have like outhouses that they would empty into a common midden somewhere.
Is there any like tunnels?
I mean, I guess if your clan has prepared this basement as an emergency at some point in the past, you can tell me if there's anything like that.
I would think there would be tunnels, wouldn't there?
Yeah, maybe not like a really extensive network, but maybe at least like a tunnel or two that leads to the outskirts of the village.
I'm trying to think, like, it might be just a more, like, this is not even a safe house. This is just more, I don't think we would have had a safe house in the sense. It might be this is where we put potential people that were turning, because we don't want them in the castle while they're turning. We'd rather them deal with that in the village. And so we're basically in a butcher shop at the moment. And it might
Yeah.
be that it's a disposal route. Like if there's someone that's not turned properly, we throw them down the hole and we deal with them later. Like they clean out the corpses later. So I think it's more something disgusting.
So like
Probably.
so just like a pit with like a grate and a shutter door over it or something like that you throw them into.
Yeah. Yes.
And that pit is
Right.
just full of bones and stuff.
Yeah, because I don't see like a village having like a safe house for us as vampires. I think we'd be thinking we're too good for that, and this is the first time we're aware of
Yeah.
such an extensive attack. So we didn't see a point in preparing because we couldn't envision a catastrophe
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. The castle was supposed to be our safe house, so
Yeah. Whereas I
That
think
makes
it's
sense.
more like I imagine probably Rohina herself it says no. We want the meat to be prepared, and we have it prepared in the village and brought to us. And it was like it took an age for that to be like sorted out. So it might have been that was a safe house, but it got converted to a butcher shop, basically.
yeah, probably.
Okay, so you don't have a tunnel as such, you have a pit. So
I think there is, but it's disgusting. Like the same as like a sewer, like just
oh, so
a
you mean
refuse.
so you're
hole.
saying that it would have like a runoff then?
It would have a runoff, yes, but it's
Okay.
going to be disgusting.
I mean, I definitely have no problems crawling through that mess.
I mean, your name's Ratface, so obviously.
You're gosh darn right.
Yeah, you can hear them not just bashing on Ivarda's door now, but you can hear them like ramming it, shoulder barging it, trying to bust their way in. You can hear them yelling. One of them's probably seen him up at the window, peeking out nervously, and they're yelling up at him that he's a conspirator and a heretic, and he's going to die for his sins.
Oh, I liked Edvard. He was a very good thrall. But why do I need to get these clothes so filthy? Why did I have to wear this dress? Fine. Down the pit.
Down the pit we go.
You open the grate easily with your strength. You can already smell, the smell that's down there, decaying flesh, the smell of dried blood, and the fecal matter from the half-turned thralls that have existed down there for some time before being put out of their misery. How long has it been since someone came down to clean out down here?
We're probably too good for that, so
So you
it's probably been a while.
trust it to lower ranked individuals, maybe.
I think it's
Probably.
like for the freshly turned, for thralls, ghouls, and Igor equivalents kind of thing. I don't
Yeah.
think a vampire has been here in a very, very long time.
Sure.
Congratulations, you survived being turned. Now go clean out the remains of the others.
Yeah, so it's a vaguely rectangular kind of pit. It probably goes down about 10-15 feet. And then goes into a very narrow small passage that you'd have to like crouch down to work your way through. That's going to lead further down. But as the three of you, descend, or maybe as the first of you descends into this pit, there's you catch sight of just a movement at the side of the pit. Now your night vision isn't excellent, but you're able to see well enough in the dark that there's this kind of almost a golem-looking sort of figure down on all fours, skirting around the edge. The hair is all falling out of their head. Their skin is all pale and ragged-looking. They look very gaunt. You can see the bones sticking out the back and the ribs. They have a kind of wet slurping sound in their toothless mouth as they kind of circle around you. You can just see the pinprick white of their pupils.
Mortal, ghoul, or
I think you'd
It's
recognise
like
that this is
vampire.
some sort of really debased ghoul that's just been left down here for who knows how long.
Feeding on all these scraps for however long.
Yeah.
The thing is barely legible. It's just making like noises as it moves around rather than actual language.
Well, it's a good thing I'm hungry. Yeah, Rom probably like zero hesitation, slides down this nasty ass hall or tunnel into this room, catches sight of the first like thing that kinda is human, and just pounces.
I imagine for Rowena and Katrina, that's like particularly disgusting feeding on a ghoul. That's probably like really like bottom barrel degenerate stuff.
Just one step above feeding on literal vermin. Or actually probably one step below vermin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, I've definitely eaten one of my rats. But I'm also really hungry.
I guess there's a small amount of risk associated with this if you want to roll. You're an assassin, so you can have 2 dice. And this is blood, so you're going to try and roll under. Or is it over?
Yeah.
Over.
Over, yeah. Technically under, but yeah, we kind of
over,
goofed that up. Ooh.
So it's 1 success. So you barely manage it. A dream inflicts a complication, harm, or cost. I'll give you the choice of taking harm from the spoiled ghoul blood, which is just something you should not be drinking. Or I'll give you that because you've taken the time to stop and feed, it gives the hunters time to bust into the building.
I imagine that, like, yeah, for sure. Rom, this is kind of a new low for Rom, but he's just kind of in a desperate situation, so he's kind of fucked up. So I'll say this has probably bought the hunters a little bit of time.
Okay, so even though you're first one into the pit, the other 2 make their way into the pit while you're still sucking down on this ghoul, which just wriggles helplessly in your arms. As you're doing that, and the other 2 of you are like halfway down the runoff passage, crouched down, turning around like, what the hell is Rom doing? You just can hear the door being busted open above you of the basement. You can hear the clatter of armoured footsteps coming down the steps, and you can hear the men yelling at each other and like flashing, wielding torches into the corners of the room, looking for the creatures that they believe are down here.
I imagine probably Rowena will pick up something off of the floor, throw it at Rom. Just like, get over here. Don't have time for your feeding antics.
Yes. No feeding. We have to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I used a lot of energy trying to stay up to make sure none of you were staked, and then trying to find out exactly who is hunting us. You're welcome, by the way.
You hear the men shouting, "There's one down there!" And a torch gets thrown down into the pit.
Oh, it's a good thing mirrors are our weakness, am I right?
Those treacherous fiends.
You can hear them yelling, "Where's the rope? Get a ladder!"
Okay, time to go.
Bring the mirror, folks. The mirror ladder. Oh no.
They overheard us. Well, it's a good thing mirrors are our weakness. Oh, quick, get the mirror, boys!
Mirrors! Boys, you hear them? I'm imagining the user probably destroyed every mirror in this village, like previously.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not
Yeah.
possibly giving any of the villagers a chance to repel you.
Yeah.
With your tremendous speed, yes, I think the 3 of you can tear your way along through this runoff passageway before they've even managed to collect themselves and organise themselves to descend into the pit, which they would do fairly cautiously because they don't want to be the first one down there to get eaten. So where does this runoff take you to then? You said outside of town somewhere, but where's that going to lead to?
I think it would be probably a discharge into a burn of some sort. Like it's the house, and then it'll be like in my head I'm envisioning like the house is like on the top of the village is on top of a hill, and the house is kind of close to the edge, and it's like a runoff down like a bunch of rocks into a burn.
So So maybe in a little valley type thing with a little
Yeah, I
stream
was
running along
thinking
it.
stream. Yeah, I was picturing a stream as well.
Like a gully or some sort.
Yeah. Still probably pretty wooded over because there's no reason to really clear this patch. Offering you some shade from the daylight because it is like midday sun.
Oh fuck, I forgot.
Yes, so there'll be like shafts of sunlight coming through the trees, reflecting off the stream of the water. Okay, so what are you going to do with here? This is out in daylight. I mean, where can you go?
Oh, why did it have to be such a clear sky today?
Is there you know, sometimes they have like these shelter things near like these sort of like the woods and stuff like that. They've got like a sort of area like that that's
You mean for like hunters to hang up their game and stuff like that?
yes.
Okay, I mean, sure, there could be something like that. It'll give you some respite from the sunlight, but it's not going to be, extensive or anything. Down here in the gully, you probably don't have sight to like the road leading in or out of the village either.
I was gonna say that maybe what's called I was gonna say, Swinny, if you've got your character of he's got the rat, doesn't he? So you can kind of communicate with his familiar, and his familiar will show him like where to hide, as in a safe spot.
Well, like a nearby cave or something.
Yeah, like we follow your familiar.
Yeah, maybe. I imagine there's like because we've been like proper like purposely maintaining the rat population. There's probably like dens all over or nests all over. So yeah, I'm sure a rat can lead us to a sizable nest that's kind of hidden away, maybe.
So, I mean, your power would allow you to control them and use them to find you a path that offers you at least like enough cover to make it to caves. And like you said, it's probably set up beforehand. But I think actually getting there is probably risky for you all.
Yeah, probably.
So somebody is going to have to make a roll here. I'm going to say it's prepared, so let's give you a dice. The rats are helping you, that's another dice. I don't know if the Inquisitor or the Seer might have a role that kind of suits this.
Finding somewhere to lay low.
Or foreseeing possible
Well, I mean, the Inquisitor,
dangers.
you might have like knowledge of, hiding places. The Seer is also likely to just like know things like that.
I think from talking to potential hunters, like doing interrogations and charming people, there's a chance that she's able to know of like hunter huts and stuff from traveling hunters and stuff. She might have been able to map out. So I feel like something along those lines to try.
So that's one dice, one for the roll, one for being prepared, and one because the rats are helping, so you've got 4 dice to roll.
Cool.
Is this more blood or wine? I think it's more blood, right? Because it's running, fleeing, physical. Like a
So I need
hunted
to roll a
animal.
5 or 6 on this.
Well, each 5 or 6 is a success, you need at least 1, yeah.
Well, there's 2.
You do it well. Good job! Exclamation mark.
Oh boy.
Yes, I mean it makes sense. You're so fast. You've got you're good at being hidden in shadows. You've got the rats helping you, giving you guidance where to go, and this is being pre-prepared in case of like worst case scenarios. so it's not too far away, and you're able to make your way to a nearby cave system. Probably worn away by the same water that is now a stream over a millennia. So it's not comfortable. You know, it's going to involve crawling, getting your clothes grubby, maybe torn a little bit. But it gets you out of the daylight, and it's into a space where you probably would have the advantage if any humans were to follow. And you get there long before any of the hunters come out of that runoff and are able to start tracking you down.
Yeah. They probably have to, like, go spelunking in order to get to us.
Yeah, I mean, even if they do, like, spot the small opening for the cave, they're not going to want to go in there, you know?
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, and I guess they will pass by, and you hear them hunting around for quite some time with their dogs and such outside. But after a time, they give up and retire. And you are able to rest in discomfort for a time until the sun sets and the moon rises and it is night once more. You used your power, so you will be thirsty.
Again.
So, what do you just want to do?
You know, Rom, while I call you rat, and I have insulted you many, many times in the court, you have proven very useful.
Thank you, I think.
Even if it's still disgusting. I imagine like the relationship between us is very, very, very abrasive.
I mean, you're practically a Toreador. Definitely abrasive.
I am still troubled.
Well, now that it's nighttime, we won't be as... We're in our element now. And I've at least seen the faces of the slayers, so...
Can I see anything that's like coming our way as the seer?
In terms of future sense?
Yes.
Sure, why don't you roll 2 dice? There's definitely going to be more wine. So you're going to try and roll under your number. No, this is like a path unknown, a path you did not foresee. You're not sure what lies ahead immediately in the future.
I think we should maybe do something so that we are prepared for when these wretches come to us.
Well, since we know that they're hunting us, we should always be prepared until we kill them.
I say maybe dig some holes, as in lure them into the forest, and then they drop in the hole.
You want to make traps? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And the trap is a whore.
Well, yes, we could have some, wood sticking out of it, or something.
Or we could hunt them down and just kill them directly.
Yeah, that could be a plan too.
I'd
With
rather
the
the blood stay in them than on the spikes in the floor. I know some of us don't mind licking up blood, but I prefer drinking from the source. I'd prefer a cup, if I'm honest.
Is there anything around here that we can have?
I mean, usually in this gully just outside the village, there's just the stream in the cave and the wind blowing through the trees. You can probably hear a wolf howling in the distance somewhere.
Ooh, I haven't had wolfie meat in a while. Wolfie blood. Tasty.
I take it the seer is easily distracted.
Probably by the sounds of it.
I imagine the seer also, like, they see, like, it's not just one future, it's like thousands of futures. And they're all just as enticing as the other.
Except for just now, where it's like a blackness that you can't see
Yeah.
anything. Which is probably unusual. So there'll be a reason for that.
Someone's tampering with my power.
Okay, so
mean,
you survived the day. What are you doing now?
I definitely want to try to stealth. I mean, I can't use my power again because I need to be sated again. So I'm going to try to just kind of I'm putting forth. We should probably search the village and find out where exactly the hunters are, and see if we can, find out anything more about them, and if we can maybe pick off a couple, that'd be great. But for the most part, just try to find out where trying to hunt the hunters.
So are you deciding now that the hunters of the church are the ones responsible?
At the very least, they're the more recent, pressing issue.
Do we know of any vampires that have embedded themselves in the church? Because there was the vampire blood,
Blood.
the vampire blood in the court. That wasn't one of ours. Wouldn't that be ironic, being hunted by our own kind, by the church? God, how would they even cope? Holy water has this horrible smell to it.
As Arena says that, you catch the whiff of smoke on the wind.
That'd probably be our loyal magistrate's home.
Looking up the hill, it doesn't look like the village is on fire.
Sort of tilt slightly looking at the castle. Just this inferno. It's like,
Yes, very much so. It has been set ablaze and the remains are burning fiercely.
I thought it was already in flames. Okay.
It was a smart move
Yeah.
to leave there.
They are really going for it, aren't they? They just want us out of here.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. I mean, we're just, very, very malicious, soulless, blood-sucking monsters. Honestly, if these peasants didn't want to be peasants, they should have just, chose a different lifestyle. I mean, honestly.
They should have just pulled themselves up by their drawstrings and they would have been so much better. But no, they had to go and join the church.
Says the vampire who is probably an aristocrat.
Literally. It's like, I don't understand. They should just have cake.
Yes, so as you have this interesting conversation between yourselves, what are you actually going to decide to do?
I mean, it's just incredibly unlikely that they would stay awake all day and all night. So, I mean, they would, of course, likely have shifts, but they have to have a place to stay. And it has to be close by, otherwise they really couldn't maintain their little inquisition here.
I mean, there'll be any number of inn-houses and such along the roads between the various towns and villages.
Yeah.
I think you probably would know that the church chiefly operates out of the big churches and cathedrals in the main cities.
I would like to maybe telecommunicate to one of my minions to see where the church people are.
You don't have telepathy, so you can't do that.
Oh, do you not? Okay.
You'd have to go see one of your minions and speak to them. Which would be people in the town. So, I mean, if you want to go up to the town, you can go up to them.
Yeah, I think we should go.
Okay, so going back up to the village, and you can see the magistrate's building that you're hiding in. The windows are smashed, the door and shutters are like wide open, and there doesn't seem to be anyone inside. And several of the other buildings also appear to be just kind of like left ransacked and wide open.
They have destroyed the whole infrastructure of the town.
Well, not the whole infrastructure. Some homes are do have their doors and shutters bolted. The occupants kind of huddled inside.
Stuck between vampires and the Inquisition. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we need to gather more information, find out where they are, maybe figure out who the leaders are so we can eliminate them, and definitely figure out the mysterious vampire involvement.
So, I mean, that, and it kind of builds on what Laura said. That sounds like you kind of want to seek out like an ally, someone who can help you in some way with information or whatever.
Yeah. Maybe we can turn one of the human inquisitors. You never know.
Why did they have to call it an inquisitor, an inquisition? Like, what vampire decided to have that as a joke?
So,
Rowena still feeling very bitter.
choices of a reluctant ally, 'cause this is something it has here, are a coven of witches, a slayer of slayers, a kind of roaming, fledgling group of young vampires, like ones that are not too recently turned.
I would say a covenant of witches because of like me being the seer. I feel like that's sort of a connection.
I think also the condemnation about it, pagans and stuff like that. So it's like an enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation.
Yeah,
because they'd
yeah.
be. I like that idea, and I'm imagining there's some form of like, okay, we won't mess with you if you don't mess with us kind of situation.
Yeah.
Definitely. Every now and again, a favor gets asked, but it's always like repaid and shit like that because you don't piss off the witches.
Meanwhile, like from my understanding, like witches, it's more like they are very in tune with like they're kind of close to druids. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
and they're
the Christian way of, seeing people are pagan was just anything like non-Christian, basically.
yeah. So they're about the support of life. Meanwhile, we're dead and we kill things. So like, we're very anti pagan.
Yeah, I think like we can speak to like their leader, like Luna.
So they're a coven of 3 sisters, the Vitkus sisters, that's their surname. And one of them goes by the name Luna, sure. Luna, of course, is not going to stay here in this village. The sisters stay out in a little hovel in the forest by themselves, hidden from the eyes of the church and such. And obviously to travel to where this hovel is takes you through the remaining forest, which of course is the domain of not just the Fae, but the pack of lichens.
Oh, the joys from one enemy to another.
So, who is it that knows the way?
I would say.
I mean, probably you, because you're the seer.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
This is more your area.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, how many dice for that?
I would probably say 1 for your roll, 1 by default. Yeah, so just a 2. And you're again trying to roll under, which you did not succeed with. Yes, so user
Oh no.
part 2. Let me do something here. Yes, you are, making your way through the forest. It's a path that's rarely walked, but probably to your senses, it's as clear as day. The path to take through the forest. You are not halfway there when the howling starts.
Oh, blast.
The howling of the lichen is, of course, to your ears, much clearer and deeper and more resonant than that of a regular wolf, because obviously they are much larger. And it's
Just
not
keep it in.
and it's not long before you are aware of an entire pack of them stalking you from all, doing the way wolves do, surrounding you in a kind of semicircular pattern, but at a distance, looking for a weakness or a slow member to start picking off. You can just see the sort of yellow amber eyes glowing at the edge of the darkness around you.
Definitely have my blade drawn and just like watching for each of the glowing eyes, making sure I'm staring at each of them.
Can I sense like they're, like through the sort of their fear, and being the seer, can I like?
So that's your
Well,
motivation. You want to see their fear. It's not
Yes.
something you can do. It's something you want to provoke in them. You want to make people afraid of you so you can see their fear.
yeah.
But your power is rage. You could just launch into rage as a power, and you wouldn't need to roll for that.
Okay. So,
Well, what do you want to do? Describe to me what it is you want to do.
I want to, make myself I want them to fear me in a sense, feel the fear, emanate the fear, so that they back off.
Do you want to do that through a display of power by using your power?
Yes.
Right. So what do you do when you fly into the rage, which is your power? What does it look like? What do you do?
It's like a big shining light kind of thing. It's just it's just shining. It's just really, it's forceful.
Yeah, but you don't have a magic power to make things afraid of you. Your power is rage. You fly into an animalistic rage and start tearing through them. That's what your power is.
All right. Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay, so are you just picking one out as an example, or are you just tearing through them all and destroying them?
I'll just pick one now for the moment.
So
Go.
The weakest one that I can tell. Can I tell
the weakest
what
one, or do you want to do the strongest one? You're not going to be rolling a dice for this. You're just going to do it because it's your power.
Okay, right. Well, I suppose the strongest one. Yeah.
Yes. Well, most people would assume as the alpha, even though wolves don't actually work like that. But yes, you pick the biggest, strongest wolf there, the most dominant one, the most impressive one, and activating your rage power. You just let the beast inside you take full control. Your eyes just turn black or red. Your fangs come out, you're arcing your back, your claws come out, and you're just leaping, spinning through the air with a ferocity and speed that is just unmatched in the natural realm. The wolf, as large as it is, it's twice the size of a man. There's nothing it can do against the speed and the power you have, as you just ravage and tear the thing inside out with your fangs and your claws. You're drenched in wolf blood and fur, and the rest of the pack are just kind of cowering, whimpering, and they just run off after this display of sheer power.
Tasty.
But of course, you are now also thirsty until you can feed from the mortal.
Laura be thirsty.
After that, the rest of the journey is trivial, and you find the hovel in the woods. There's a small farm around this little cottage, and in the daylight it would be quite sweet looking. But there's just the dying embers of the fire inside. A little bit of smoke coming up from the chimney still. and the sound of like the sisters softly snoring inside. So what'd you do?
I mean, I'm just still making sure that we're not being stalked or followed, or just keeping an eye out on our surroundings.
Okay.
I think we should just go for it and just approach and deal with them if they're sleeping and stuff. We need to talk to them.
So you approach the little cottage. You get to the front door, which is about as far as you can go without permission.
Mhm.
The ground around the house makes you feel uneasy. It sets your skin on edge. It's a feeling you're really not accustomed to.
Sort of look around, see a bunch of garlic, and go, that'll be what it is.
Garlic in a hawthorn bush.
I think there's all
Spread
this
around.
peeled garlic, and it's just like, damn it.
Yes, clearly they have some level of protection around their house as well.
Feel like if anything, Rome like gets to the edge of like they're just right where the protection is, and just sort of pauses and goes, "Well, you guys go on ahead."
Luna.
Yeah, you start calling out, and you see a face up at the window. Dark-haired, pale-faced woman.
Luna.
She, you can hear her voice from the opposite side of the door, though she does not open it. Who is there at this time of night?
It's Katrine and my fellow vampires.
What do you demons want?
Well, have you seen or heard about the church goers and the atrocities that they have bestowed us?
It's none of our business what the church have been up to. We do our best to keep our own away from them.
Yes, but what do you think? Once they massacre everyone, you will be next.
Katrina, let me. They have burned our court to ashes. If anything, chances are you'll be next.
We ask you for your support.
Why would we wish to consort with devils like yourselves? You can't be trusted.
Let's just say it's, in your best interest from these churchgoers that we work as a team.
You can hear the other sisters stirring behind her and sort of whispering to each other, who is it? What do they want? What are they doing here? The door opens quite boldly, and a blonde-haired, slightly older woman steps out in front of the other sister. Not outside the door, but just like right on the inside of the border. She's very bold and confident. She doesn't seem at all intimidated by you. I think you best be gone from our land and stop harassing us in the middle of the night. We're not interested in taking up a crusade against those that would destroy us. We are left alone, and as long as we are left alone, that's all there is to it.
I think it
I
would be in your
think
best.
I'm going to use my charm power
Yes.
and just Rowena just sort of takes her hand and sort of rubs her nose between her eyes, and then just looks back up and goes, Look, we're here in some form of aid with you now. It'd be best to have us and use us now to help you. Without us, you're going to be significantly weaker. And then just try and charm and sort of dialing it all up and playing all form of cards using my power.
Yes. Her demeanor like softens, and whether she's even aware of it or not, she finds herself sort of nodding along as you're speaking. Yes, I suppose what you say is true. This is removing an enemy that would pose a threat to us later. I can see the sense in that. But what would you have us do?
And sort of, she looks a lot more tired suddenly. Obviously from drained from using it.
Perhaps some form of potion?
For what purpose?
For easing the churchgoers, maybe easing them, making them feel a bit more calmer.
For you mean for relaxing them? A good cup of tea.
No, as in like, just like, not what's called like seeing the side of the vampires and the witch community.
Yeah, there is no potion for that.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe a hex.
So maybe you want to discuss between yourselves what you want the witches to actually do for you.
I mean, all we
Do we know?
really would need is to convince them that this crusade is pointless and is just going to be a waste of time. So if we can somehow convince them that they've already got all of the vampires, then maybe.
I don't think the sisters are capable of like enchanting the whole of the church. I just don't think that's something.
Maybe not the enchanting the church, but maybe what's called a sort of plague or something on the church people, or helping them destroy the church leader, because I think once the church leader's been destroyed, then it means that the flock will crumble.
Burn the church to the ground.
Would it be more useful for them to be able just to tell you who the church leader is and where they are, so that you can take care of them?
That's probably best.
Yeah. Use some, fortune telling or future seeing or whatever.
Yeah, you wanted to scry and find the
That's
person.
the word.
Yeah.
Forgot the word scry. There you go.
Is this the person you want them to find, the head of the church?
Or at least the head of the local Inquisition at the very least.
Just in your path of vengeance, is this your target that you're after?
Ooh, actually, no. The vampire.
Yes. I
Yeah,
forgot about the vampire.
we need the I did too for a moment. Yeah, we need to find out who the vampire that was there.
Petty vampires are getting too caught up in the last person that came after you.
Oh, for sure. We're short-sighted, don't you know?
Would it be possible that we would have? This is potentially like, would we have had like a vial of the blood rather than us just sort of asking about it, like so that we could give it to them?
I don't know about a vial, but you probably could have kept something that had the blood on it. Yeah, like wiped it with a tissue or a handkerchief type thing, or a bit of cloth of some sort. Yeah, I think that's fair enough to say that could have happened. Yeah.
Sort of using that as turning it into sort of a form of bloodhound.
Well,
Be like sniffing it.
Yes, so they ask you, do you have anything of this person, this being that you need to locate, and you produce, a handkerchief that you have that you've used to wipe the elders' talons with, and it's got remnants of the blood on it. Yes, well, we can certainly use this. They go back into their cottage. You see the smoke coming up from the chimney. You can see the fireplace getting built up again, and they start chanting and casting, putting things into a little small cauldron they have over the fire, and then they pour some of that out and they all spit on it, and then they start rubbing it on these little bones that they have, and then they take the bones and they roll them out, and then they come to you and they tell you, The blood is from the Countess of Kidania, the vampire Adela.
I'm guessing that's one of our rivals.
Yeah, she's the Duchess of the other village or nearby village.
The head of the clan with whom your elder had an ancient feud with.
Right. Yeah.
She is in, or not in, but she's being kept by the Cardinal Deacon, Leonis, in the city, under his protection.
Well, that explains a lot.
Explains a lot.
But yes, she's in the city of Kidania.
Time to go to Kidania.
Yeah.
Screw this witch cult. We're not gonna help them. We're gonna go and kill a vampire.
Well, I mean, killing the old vampire might help them in a roundabout way.
Does Kidania even have a cathedral? They have churches.
We can just say they do.
Yes, so, the city is... I'm not sure how many miles away. It is a distance away. It is, a night's travel away. So you'll need to, rest again before you can make your way to the city. But come next evening, you'd be able to get there quick enough because of your speed.
Awesome.
And the Cardinal Deacon works out of this church in the city. So where do you rest for the night? The witches aren't stupid, they still haven't let you into their house.
Do they have a sort of barn next to their house?
They will definitely have a barn of some sort for livestock, yes.
Yeah, well, let's go there.
Okay, so you spend the day resting in the barn amongst the animals, which will bother some of you more than others. The three of you are absolutely ravenous by the time that the moon rises on the next evening, because you have got an entire day without feeding, and you're all very thirsty, having used your powers.
Yeah.
There is a peak.
During the course of the day, the sisters have taken steps to further enhance the protection of their dwelling. You cannot even step on the patch of ground around the house now. They've sanctified it in some way. So, what did you do? What's your approach? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Maybe we can go to Kidania and maybe find a traveller on the way.
The first human that we see, we're just like, hello, can you help us, point us towards the nearest, nom 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 nom.
For sure.
Right, so you are making your way along back through the forest. The wolves do not hassle you this time. Once you get onto the roads towards the city, you're making good headway. Travellers at night are few and far between, not just because of creatures like yourselves, but also because of the bandits and stuff on the roads. But you do see a coach with a pair of torches on the front and back of it to give it light. And it looks like you can see quite clearly, because of the torches, the sign of the Orthodox Church emblazoned on the side of the coach. You can see that there's a man-at-arms sat beside the driver. Presumably, you can probably feel or hear the heartbeats of several men inside. But these are speaking out to you now because you can smell the blood.
Perfect. Meals on wheels.
Yep. Oh, some healthy men here, healthy, strong men. Yum, yum, yum.
But none of you have your power at the moment, and you will need to like crack the tin open to feast on them. So
Yeah.
what's the plan?
Well, we definitely should have the cart stop. I mean, I'm in favor of like keeping the cart as intact as possible, so we can use it. But
Yeah.
well, okay, we have our like super speed. So, and I'm an assassin.
Yep.
Is there any way whatsoever? Yeah, is there any way whatsoever that I could like dash out from like one side of the road, leap across the road, and just like slash the throat of the man-at-arms?
Oh, the man at arms.
And then just
yes, you can.
yeah,
You can
and then
roll
just disappear.
Yeah, you can roll 2 dice for that.
I mean, if I can, I would love to get both the driver and the man-at-arms, but the man-at-arms is. Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll go for the driver if I can only pick one.
You can go for both if you want. I mean, you have the speed, and you are an assassin.
For sure. Yeah, in that case, I would like to take them both out. Stop the cart and get rid of the driver.
Yeah, I mean it's still 2 dice either way.
Okay, cool. Hey!
So you're trying to roll above your number, which you did twice. So that is a full success. Yes, you do exactly as you described. At the right moment, you just leap across the road, slashing the throats of the two of them. They clutch their throats in surprise and topple over. The horses still just carrying on at the same pace they were before. Which is to say, a kind of not a fast speed. They'll be going fairly slow because it is dark.
Yeah, a
They're-
nice
See,
trot.
like Katrine and Rohina are up there just like munching.
So you want to grab the guard and driver as they fall off of the coach and just start feeding on them right away.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see how it is. I'd put in the work, y'all eat.
Oh, we are starving. You had a little bit of that thing.
And
that
then
you had.
immediately used it.
Well, I'm saying Rohina. Rohina can decide if she does that or not.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Rom, you turn around, quite pleased with yourself, probably licking a bit of blood off the end of your finger, and you turn around and two of them are already holding them by the side of the road, draining them dry.
Just this like eldritch monster standing on the side of the road watching as a car goes by, just like, really? Fine, but yeah, I'll catch back up onto the carriage and I'll actually cling on to the kind of like the rear side, closer to like one of the carriage doors. Is it like is it full on glass windows, or is it like, am I able to
No,
reach
it's
inside?
like an armored one. It's all like closed over. It's not like glass. There's just like a slot that you can look through on either side, and
Oh,
then
shit.
and then some like holes so they can stick their halberds out at anybody on the sides. The whole side of it just has like the big Orthodox crucifix, painted gold on a red background.
Right. Well, I still don't got my power, but I'll take a note from Rowena and just gently knock on the door, on the outside of the door, and then just kind of.
Yeah, so it's still moving at driver's pace, and you haven't had a bend in the road yet, so the horses are still going where they should go, and you just like knock on the door.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna try to hide and make sure that they can't see me. If they look through the slits or whatever.
Somebody's looking at a slit. They start yelling the driver's name, like Christian. What's happening? You can hear
You're
kind of
back on
rummaging around inside, questions asking. They keep yelling out the name of the driver and the man at arms that's accompanying them. To no avail.
Stop the wagon.
one of the doors like just starts opening, and one of them like looks out to try and see where the driver's gone.
Okay, if they open up the door, I immediately want to just grab him and just pull him out. Full on like horror movie, like what?
Yeah, I guess 2 dice because you're assassin.
For
It's
sure.
blood, so above your number.
If I pull this off, I'm definitely eating this guy. Hey, whoa.
Yeah, you grab the one guy, you pull him over the top of the door, and you're holding him like with one hand while holding onto the back of the stagecoach with your other hand. And as you like pull him into view and you're about to sink your fangs into his neck, the sight of the crucifix around his neck catches your eyes. And you just see your reflection in the tiny piece of metal.
God damn it.
What's your reaction to that?
Probably try to like claw that away and tear it off of him.
Okay, so you just grab it, just rip it off of him.
Yeah. If it causes me harm or burns me or whatever, I still try to do it anyways and push through it.
Sure. I mean, I guess you can do that. I think you would probably lose your grip on him or the coach, your choice.
I'll lose my grip on him.
Yeah, you drop him and he gets instantly kind of like pulled under one of the wheels. You can hear like some of the ribs snapping as he hits the ground.
Oh shit.
And then at that same time, Rowena and Katrine, you can see the door opening on the other side of the coach. And for you, Rom, you can see another guard sticking his head out on the door that's already open. And those 3 guards like tumble and roll out of the stagecoach on either side of it. One of them has a rifle in his hands.
I'll just shout at whoever is closest to the reins and just stop the damn cart and then try to...
Oh, they're both like way behind you unless they've moved.
Oh, damn.
Because this coach is moving the whole time.
Yeah. I'm trying to shout at Rowena or Katrina or whoever's like nomming on the driver. Fucking start the car, the coach already. And then turn around and deal with whoever's the bigger threat, I guess, with the rifle.
Okay, so you two back to the way we used to. Once you're done sucking the blood out of these guys. Rowena, Katrine?
I'm just trying to think whether it's where it's best to have the charm and the seduction or the...
What are you talking about?
animalistic thing.
You've
or-
already picked all that.
No, I'm talking about like if what either like myself or Rohida should go.
Okay, but that doesn't matter. Just like tell me what you're doing. You're still a powerful vampire.
Yeah. And we're going up against probably, hunters themselves.
Well, probably speed ahead because we've got the speed to help what's
Okay,
called
so there's one
help
guy
them.
that rolled out on the left of the coach. There's 2 guys on the right, and one of the guys on the right has a rifle. So who do you go for? What'd you do?
I'm probably going to go for the guy on the left first
Yeah.
to just get him over and done with.
Okay, so what are you doing to him?
I'm just using my rage.
You don't have your rage. Oh no, so you did. You do have rage. You fed. Yeah. So I mean,
Yes,
you can use your
yeah.
rage to just describe to me what you do. You could go for all 3 of them.
Yeah, so I just use my rage, just come right at him at a force. It just knocks him right forward. We just go right forward as if I'm just pushing forward with him right ahead, and then and I just drop him from a high height.
A high height? Oh, you mean like run up a tree with them and just drop them? Okay, and imagine you like throw him down, so it's also the force of your throw combined with
Yeah.
the velocity of him hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, breaking
And
his
I'm
neck
just-
and killing him. Yeah.
And then I just eat him.
Then you jump down top of him and feed on him. Okay, what about you, Rowena? Did Callum step away?
I don't think so.
He must have. Okay, well, in lieu of him not being there, what do you want to do? Rat face. You're going for the guy with the rifle, you say?
Yeah.
Yes, he is like fumbling, getting that big long rifle out, cocking the double barrels on it and slow, ever so slowly compared to your speed, turning it around to face your direction.
Yeah, I think if anything, Ram like has a love of theatrics, so he'll probably like walk forwards a few seconds and then just immediately dash over and just seemingly teleports like over here, then over there, and the whole time he's like just walking slowly, and then eventually, one more dash and tries to just rip the gun out of his hands and hit him upside the head with it.
Yeah, I mean, the gun's not even going to hurt you. I don't think it's even risky that you need to roll for it. You just zip, 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 and you're right in front of him, and you just, like, take the gun out of his hands and, like, grab him with your other arm.
Ooh, yeah. If anything, I'll throw him at the other guy that's on this side.
Okay, roll a dice for that one, because that one is riskier.
Yeah. Hey.
That's one. Okay. Yeah, you throw him into the other guy. And the two of them go fumbling backwards. And you can see that guy, he is like some sort of like specialist sort of armor under his fabric. You know, I mean, armor itself since then isn't really in use as much because of it's all going into like infantry shooting.
Yeah.
So for him to have that, like, he is obviously prepared and a proper hunter. He maybe even have like a slightly different uniform that signifies that he's like a lieutenant or something like that. And he draws like a short sword, a very short sword, and it absolutely gleams of being made of silver. But what is more terrifying for you is not so much that it's made of silver, but that it is like a fine polished silver, so that it is effectively a mirror. And he draws that as he like hits the ground and the other guy's on top of him. So you do have a moment to do something.
Yeah. I'll definitely hiss out just Slayer, and then try to knock the sword away or out of his hand.
Yeah, 2 dice, I think again. Or maybe your assassin, yeah, 2 dice.
Ooh, even better.
And the last one, you actually got your actual number. So you actually get to also ask me a question that I need to answer, which should give you special insight into what's going on about the current situation.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this guy's clearly a slayer. The other guys are probably not, but I guess what's this? What do I feel like this guy's mission is? Like, what's?
Oh, he's clearly like a dedicated, proper, church-allocated inquisitor, tasked with eradicating demons and vampires and supernatural threats. So he's equipped for supernatural foes and threats, and would be trained as such.
Right, so he's
I'm back,
just.
and we've encountered Van Helsing.
No, they've
Oh,
taken.
hey, yeah.
They took care of the other guy's stagecoach, but this guy's like the captain or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's drawing like a blade which is polished silver, which is effectively a mirror. But yeah,
Okay, so-
he's going to be trained, full believer, all the rest of it sanctified.
Yeah. So he's not like transporting anything in the carriage. This is more just like him patrolling or
Yes.
going to the village.
Yeah, and obviously like the fact that they're out patrolling, they're almost definitely, or certainly going to be the same group of guys that were in the village before, and now they're like patrolling the roads at night, looking for you.
Yeah, just as I figured. Okay, well, that's my question, I guess. Right before I, eat his face.
Okay, you only got one dice though, so he is going to. There's no like system for this for like tracking harm because you've taken one harm already. So I'm going to say you take a second harm, just from the reflection of the blade. I mean, he's thinking he can just like stab you with it, and that's what's going to hurt you, kill you. But it's catching your reflection before it goes in is the thing that causes you pain.
Yeah.
Shit, be right back 1 minute.
But that's not enough to prevent you from grabbing hold of him and doing what you're going to do.
Yeah, I'm a hungry boy. I definitely need to feed at least on this guy.
Yes.
At the very least, I definitely need to kill this guy.
Yeah, as you sink your fangs into that guy, the coach topples over on its side as the horses turn a corner, and the horses struggle desperately to drag it along the road as they try to flee.
Well, shit.
But they are all dead, and these are all sated.
Yay.
The rest of your journey to the city of Kidanya is without event. It's called a city. It's at this point it's usually a very large town, a few thousand people at most. It doesn't have a grand cathedral. It just has a particularly large church that's had a bit more money spent on it. But there are duos of guards in amongst the city guard, patrolling around with torches, and they clearly have the sigils of the church about them, accompanying like the night watch, which is highly unusual. But yes, as you reach the city with your incredible speed, dawn will be approaching soon, so you will need to find somewhere to rest.
Damn, that coach would have been perfect. Okay.
As well,
Well,
wait a
this
minute
stuff-
for him to get back.
Yeah, I'm good with that too.
Just so you're all, because since you got the charmer, might help.
Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, I'm just thinking like this
Back
is
again.
not. Hey, okay, perfect.
Sorry, Paula needed me to tuck her in.
So you
No
have
worries.
reached the city, the very large town of Kidanya. The Night Watch are on patrol, but in amongst the Night Watch are members of the church that you can see with the torches, which is unusual. But dawn will be approaching as you reach the city, so you will need somewhere to rest. So at this point, we'll just wait.
I mean, my initial reaction is like this isn't our town. This is dominated by another clan plus the church. If anything, we probably ought to go for a low or humble sort of place to hide, maybe. Unless the charmer can charm their way into somewhere better. Whoops.
I mean, you know the charmer can. They just need to pick who and where.
Yeah.
So yeah, where he's picking to rest up hideout in this city of rival vampires in the church. Hello.
I'm thinking.
Is that what that sound is?
You should sound like. Oh. In my head, it sounds like gears grinding and grinding on themselves.
Oh,
Peter,
that's lovely.
a hamster on a wheel.
Oh, hun, that's awful.
It's the wheels very, very loose and squeaky.
I mean, I could go Simpsons route and then it's just a fly buzzing about a lazy donkey. Not that I'm calling you any of those things.
Uh-huh.
I've been called
Bortai
far worse.
could call those things any day.
For sure.
But yeah, so where would you like to try and hide out?
I mean, if you feel like using your power, Charmer, the Rowena could probably get us pretty much anywhere for free.
Once.
Just once, though.
Unless I charm a person into being my blood bag, and then I can use that to charm the next person to being a blood bag and just work my way up that way.
I mean, it might work. Leave behind a trail of drained corpses.
I say with Rom taking the harm that he's taken so far as well, there's not a lot more harm you can take before you're going to be in trouble.
Is there any sort of like healing mechanic or?
You just don't have the speedy healing though.
Yeah. So there isn't. Okay.
I guess with enough blood you could heal, yeah.
Jeez. Maybe the blood bag idea might be might be a good idea.
But of course the downside or the problem with drinking people is it tends to leave a trail.
Yeah. But if we're quick, that might not matter that much.
So where, guys, gals, creatures of the night?
No,
Jump
we
from shadow to shadow.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Let's do like a local tavern or something like that, and see if we can charm.
Being the pious city that it is, although weary travellers can knock on an inn inquiring for space, there will not be any brew houses open late at night like this.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, a townhouse. Just
townhouse.
a place to sleep for weary travelers.
Okay, okay. So one of you want to roll because you're gonna have to avoid like the night watch and stuff.
Can I roll for because being the seer to see? Yeah.
Sure, you can have 2 dice for it. Yeah.
Definitely just being a sneaky ninja vampire.
Oh, why am I always rolling quite high? It's honestly, it's like.
Well, I think it actually is a blood roll though. I don't think it's a blood roll.
Okay. Alright, okay. That's good then. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of difficult to judge what I really mind, but yeah, I think blood roll. Because it's going in with your like instinctive senses and stuff. Sure, and you just have the tremendous speed, so you're able to outpace. You'll notice in amongst the night watch and also the members of the church, occasionally on a rooftop, on a balcony, in a dark corner, there is also a vampire lurking, watchful. Occasionally there might be one feeding in a dark alleyway somewhere around a corner, and they just like maybe detect you going by, but you're moving so fast, they have no hope of spotting you, although they have sensed like the presence perhaps.
Yeah, I think speed is
something.
Stella's drones, eh?
But yes, there's a lot of activity going on despite the quietness of the city at night. And the other vampires do not seem to be impeded by the guard or the churchgoers wandering around. Church members wandering around.
Yeah, I think if we're too speedy for them, then I think the quicker we get this done, the better.
Yeah, so you knock on in house. This kind of portly man answers. He's got like one of those little white bobble hats, they used to sleep in, as well as like his long like white robe. And he'll answer with a little candle in his hand. It's awful late for travellers, but yes, we have space. And he like motions you inside, and it's just like the floor of the bar, just the bar room, is just covered in hay, and there's already a couple of traveller people that are like sleeping there on the hay sacks. So just make yourselves some room, and we'll settle up in the morning.
Or we could lock the door.
Well, I mean, he will lock the door when he's come in.
Yeah.
Just like go around stealth, stealth kill.
Yeah, so, he says, settle you in the morning and just leaves you be to make yourselves comfortable, and he goes back up to his bed. There's the snoring of the two travellers in the room with you, as well as the man upstairs, and presumably his partner. So what'd you do? Because these people are going to wake up in a few hours.
I say we could just eat them all.
Yes, my instincts, my thinking.
So what? You just silently going to drink them? You're going to toy with them? You're just going to have a bloodbath? What?
I would prefer silently. That way, it takes a little bit longer for the guards to catch on to us, but at least, hopefully. Oh, actually, yeah. If we leave the owner and the partner and all that, but if we could just get rid of the two travelers, maybe, especially if we can hide the bodies, it might be even better for us sleeping during the day. That way, he might think that the travelers just left early.
Okay, I mean, I don't think we need to roll for drinking them while they're sleeping. That's easy enough to do. You might find room in the storeroom or behind the bar in the sort of kitchenette to like drag the bodies and put them behind there. Anyone goes looking for them, they're going to find them, but that's all the space you really have in here.
Yeah.
But come morning, the bells are going to toll, the cockcrows are going to start sounding, there's a hustle and bustle outside, and the barman, the innkeeper, comes down in the morning, fully dressed. Goes over to a bucket of water and splashes it in his face. Turns around to you, the three of you in the hay. And he, kind of looks quizzical. He's like, where'd the other two go?
I'm not sure.
You try to say something, Laura?
They left early. I'm sure they left early. They had that early day.
Well, at least they were paid up, I suppose. And he starts getting his keys out from his belt and walking over to the front door. If you don't do anything, he will unlock the front door.
Yeah. All right. I guess maybe
Oh, yeah.
go with business as usual. Probably was a bad idea. Fuck it. I'm sneaky and speedy, so I'll quickly just rush over and just snap his neck.
Roll two dice, because there is a risk here. It's blood, obviously. Okay, you get to ask a special insightful question. You run over and snap his neck before he gets to the door. And before his wife comes down the stairs.
What's the arrangement of? Because if the guards in the church don't seem to be bothered or impeding the vampires' activities, what all do we not know about? Like, how exactly does vampire society seem to function with all the humans? Like, if there's any how is this arrangement working?
Okay,
exactly?
Well, from your observation, it would seem that the church is just being told to, or just not interested in the vampire activity in the city. For whatever reason. If they were doing their jobs, they would be out hunting them down, the vampires would be operating, and not as openly as they're operating.
Interesting. Well, while that's taken care of, I guess I'll take care of the missus.
Yeah, I mean, while he snaps that guy's neck, Rohina, you can hear the wife upstairs kind of just like humming to herself as she's like preparing the stuff for today.
The sun is shining. The birds are singing.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful day. Snap.
It's a lovely morning.
Waste not what not breakfast. Mmm.
You can hear her like coming down the stairs like, Boris, darling.
Yeah, no.
And, it's just, and then from the shadow behind her, Boris, I'll show you where Boris is. Snap.
She turns around and she barely has time to like register your face before her head turns sharply at 90 degrees.
Oh, another snack. Mmm. Time for sherry. Mm.
Are you planning on hiding out here for the day?
Yeah, probably.
Well,
What we'll do is we'll
because-
massacre the entire town in this one town.
Well, I mean, we're really quick, so we probably could.
Yeah. I feel like we had like a wee feast there, don't we, with the 4 of them? Just like
So, I mean, during the course of the day, patrons of the inn, the bar, will come up repeatedly, you know, knocking on the door, trying to look through the windows.
we're just eating them.
Yeah, we're definitely pigging out and sleeping with the doors locked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's quite a few times where you're wondering, are people going to start barging the store down? Does someone else have a key and they're going to come in? But despite the noise and the constant harassment, you know, that keeps you awake, you know, nobody comes in, and it's nighttime again before long.
Oh well, our bellies are full.
Yeah, did I manage to gorge myself enough to heal any harm?
Yes, you'll be able to take a couple of harms before you go down there.
Okay,
I
cool.
just imagining you just basically just grabbing like flesh. It's like, I'm missing this, but I'll just take this from the person, just stuff it all in. There we go.
Jesus.
Okay, yeah, so once the sun sets, what are you doing? You know where the church is. I'm guessing hallowed ground is something you... I don't know if you can walk in there or not, or if it's just... or if it has any effect on you.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, we don't have holy stuff as like a weakness, so...
Yeah,
It doesn't
Nice,
necessarily need to be.
it's-
Can I do my
It's
like
just-
foresee thing so that I can see if like there's any danger ahead?
Sure, roll 2 dice. Just try to see if it's blood or not. I guess it is kind of blood. It's sort of not, though. Yeah, okay, so you can see, or you get a sense of underground depth, darkness, tunnels twisting everywhere. Scores of ghoulish vampire creatures scurrying about in those tunnels in the darkness, serving their brood mother. And then on top of those tunnels, a building of golden light with something that would represent a holy man standing on a podium in that structure.
Okay, he's in the church. And underneath us there's like tunnels where there's like ghouly vampires, and they're obviously feeding Della, so, or doing some of her works.
So tonight's night, what do you want to do?
Yeah, if they have like a tunnel network, probably see if we can find a entrance to that, maybe.
Okay, 1 dice roll. If someone's helping, they can roll a dice as well.
I want to help. I want to be a credit to the team.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's roll 1d6. Well, it's below.
Yeah, it's just as well you rolled, because Heafield has, I'm thinking that's more
Yeah.
guile and stuff, so... Yes, I mean, you might be skulking about in the shadows using your speed and such, but maybe they were a little alerted from the night before or something. You're not able to like track any. But Rohina is able to track down one of them, or maybe catch one in the act of coming up from one of these tunnels. And they seem to have dug the tunnels into some of the homes and buildings, and perhaps slain the occupants or just taken over the building entirely. and using that as cover for coming and going between the network. But of course, in the process of doing so, this vampire, and it's going to look very like a Nosferatu, hulked over, bald, very pale skin, big black eyes, reeks of like death. And you're going to, it seems quite, I don't want to say primitive compared to Rohina, but it's definitely not her sensibilities or her dress sense. And she would definitely like look down on a creature such as this. Although so you catch her in the act of coming out or going into one of these tunnels in one of these homes, but it also catches sight of you as this happens. So what'd you do?
Cry. Probably cry.
With the purpose of,
I guess I could try and charm the creature into not noticing us.
you can certainly charm a creature. You can just do that. It's your power.
Charm the creature to be friendly, then one of you can control it because you've got animal control. I'll charm it then.
Okay,
Just try
yes,
and be
you let out your
friendly.
charm, and the creature sights you, and it turns as if it's going to run, scour, warn the others, but something stops it, and it straightens up just a little bit, so it's not quite so hunched over on all fours, and then it looks at you, and then kind of like scurries over, you know, again, kind of going on all fours at times, as it approaches you. And when it speaks, it has like a very raspy hiss of a voice. And it asks you, you know, are you here for the broodmother? Are you here for the prophecy?
Yes.
Are the other two with you?
Indeed, we are all here for the broodmother.
No, and again, are those two with you?
I would imagine
Yes.
so.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so it's going to look at those two and looks to you, Rokina. Are these two your offering?
Rohina just sort of brings herself up. They're not the best of offerings, but it's our circumstances. Yes. Especially this one. And sort of looks at Rom.
Yeah, and it's hisses again, that raspy tone it has, and then it says, in the old tongue of the elder vampires, the blood is for the blood god. And then it motions for you to follow it, and it scurries into the caverns below.
Oh, great. The blood god. Fantastic.
So from the entrance to the cavern, go below the building, very strongly has the smell of like dried blood, and what you would associate it with somewhere that has been home to a lot of vampires for a long time. The air of the grave about it. And you can see the tunnel has not been dug so much as clawed out of the dirt. It's very rough and uneven. So we'll just wait there.
Okay, so trying to get a better sense of what our situation is. The guy thinks that we're tributes to a blood god. Are there any other vampires around that can currently see us, or?
No, because if they could, you'd be in trouble.
Yes, I'm just trying to make sure that it stays that way, because that's part of my motivation is to remain
but I mean, you
unseen.
are
So.
fast and masters of being cloaked in shadows, so staying hidden isn't usually much of a problem for you.
Yeah, I just definitely want to try to focus on staying as hidden as possible as we move deeper in.
But as much as you're all deep in thought, what are you doing? Are you going into the hole? Are you going to find a different route? Or are you going to go to the church building or something else?
Oh, we've been diving through holes so far. Why not just keep going with that trend and going down this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it is very much like a warren dug into the ground. You're hunched over the entire time you're down there. apart from where several of the worm tunnels kind of join each other, and then you're able to stand upright. You're constantly having to like hide into the alcoves and edges to avoid other passing vampires that are going to and fro, dragging bodies of the living and the deceased back and forwards. Most of the tunnels kind of like seem to converge going downwards, and the tunnels, as they sort of join together, they're getting larger and larger. It would appear to be the warren just extends like right beneath the whole city. And as you would be going deeper, it's getting the air's getting warmer and more humid. You can taste the copper in the air of the blood. The sounds and screams of people deep within its chambers, echoing upwards. So I mean, do you want to go down there?
Yes.
I mean, we don't want to, but I feel like we probably should.
Yeah, I'm
Get to get
feeling that
revenge.
as well. I'm just like, oh, should we go or not? I'm like,
One hand vengeance, one hand staying alive.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just thinking as well because of like the night vision as well. Going down holes is not going to be the best.
Well, yes, but I mean, you are also good at cloaking shadows and speed, which is very
Yeah,
useful.
yeah.
We'll be alright.
Let's just go. Let's
Right,
just go
I don't think you're
together.
prepared. The assassin can have an extra dice because he is an assassin. But the other two just roll 1 dice each.
Okay.
And this is going to be trying to roll under your number.
That's so tricky. Honestly, every time I roll high, I'm like, oh, why can't I roll high at other games?
Ooh, and I rolled my number.
Well, you failed, but you rolled your number.
Okay, I'm gonna roll my number.
I can roll Kina roll as well. Just 1
Let's
dice.
try and get it to work. I rolled
Nah.
Okay,
just
so
under mine.
Rohina and Rom can both ask me a special insight question about the situation, and I have to answer it fully for you. But you two are also going to get spotted as you're trying to make your way down through these passages.
So I can because I got a 2.
Yes, Katrine. So
Yeah.
you do not get spotted. They will be spotted
I
before
don't.
you.
Ah, right. Okay. Cool.
So they will be in immediate danger. You will not be. But they get to ask the special question.
How fucked are we? No, I'm just kidding. How many how many enemies are
This is a vampire clan, if you can call it that, at full strength. There are dozens of individuals.
well, shit. What's your question, Rowena?
I'm trying to. What's the scope of the insight?
You get special insight into what's going on. Ask the GM a question about the current situation, and they'll answer you honestly. You could
Okay.
ask things such as, what is the opponent really feeling? Who's behind this? How could I get them to do a certain thing? What should I be on the lookout for? What's the best way to do something? What's really going on here? Those are examples.
Okay, well, my question was going to be, why was our clan attacked?
It becomes readily apparent as you enter like the main bottom chamber, where you can see the Countess Adela, this fat, bloated creature, just like swollen with blood. Like her skin is like purple with it. And you can see that there's all these idols and ancient ruins that have been dug out of the dirt, and they have been like covered and soaked in blood. And the idols seem to be like absorbing and sucking the blood up as it's like poured and doused over them. People are like screaming and crying as they're like pierced on some of the sharper objects, and the blood like runs down of it and just is absorbed into the statue. Clearly there is a sacrifice ritual going on here, and part of that is they've taken some of your clan members and used the vampire blood as sacrifice.
Oh, yay.
And at that point, you two are spotted. You see a handful of these lowly, ghoulish vampire servants, hissing, and you can see some crawling on the ceiling and on the walls in your direction. Fangs bared, claws at the ready. What do you want to do?
I would like to control whatever vermin might be around and just swarm the chamber.
Okay, so just envelop, drown the chamber in as many vermin as you can.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, I mean, you have a
Just-
whole city, lots of rats, fleas, probably moles and voles in the dirt itself. Roaches galore, I can imagine.
For sure.
Beetles
Just
and other
all the
insects.
vermin.
Just
all the
a
vermin
wave
need
of
to
swarm. Yeah, they all start crawling out of the dirt around the different areas of the chambers, dropping from the ceiling. Just a tide of rats come pouring down through the warren, successfully distracting a large number of the vampires. And what about you, Rohina?
Trying to look at what we've got.
Rome has bought you, a moment's breathing space to do something.
I'm trying to think. I'm not sure how seductive and works here.
It's just the style of your character. I think aristocratic may actually have maybe worked for her as well. It's just flavour more than anything else, like the way you do things. But I mean, you could do anything a vampire could do. You've got your speed and everything still, and strength.
Yeah.
And you have a gun and a bladed weapon as well, right?
I was trying to think, like, if this is an entire clan and there's us three, going up in a fight and like 1-on-1 is probably not the smartest action. However, being spotted, stealth's not exactly feasible, but still very fast. Probably is.
I've also just summoned basically a vermin swarm, so they're kind of distracted and dealing with that too. So, I kind of bought a window. If anything, you could take advantage of the distraction and maybe take a couple out or something
I
like
think
that.
I'm leaning towards that as an option, yes. To use the blade to cut, hopefully one down, while they're distracted, hopefully more, but that's
Are you
my
just
best thinking.
trying to create space for yourself by killing the nearest ones to you then?
Yes.
To give yourself
Literally more breathing room.
Give yourself more time. Okay, I think Inquisitor can get a dice for this, because part of your repertoire is probably combat of sorts. And it is
Start
risky,
dueling
so
combat.
dice, so 2 dice roll, and this is very much blood, so you're rolling over.
Oh, there's a 6.
Oh, there you go. So you will take a harm, as obviously, you start stabbing into some of these creatures, and they fight back. They're biting and slashing at you, tearing some chunks out of you, biting into your arm before you cast off and behead them. So you do take a bit of harm as that, but you do manage to clear kind of like a circle around you, cutting down maybe 5 or 6 of them.
Oh, wow.
But Katrine, they don't seem particularly trained. Some of them are obviously not even that newly turned. They're very kind of low level sort of vampires. But Katrine, you have not been seen. You have not been seen yet. You're also not at the table, I can hear.
She's still stealthy. She's left the area.
Yeah, I need that on that. I'm going to go grab a drink quick.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, as for yourself, Swindle, I am sitting with 2 ice blocks around me, these ice packs that you put in.
Yeah.
I think 100% humidity at the moment where I am in Scotland.
Oh, yeah, fuck.
And I'm trying to figure out into Fahrenheit how hot it is. Oh, 75 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, with humidity, yeah, that feels like garbage. I already know.
Actually, let's find out like how humid is my town right now. Sorry, 88% humidity.
Yeah. Yeah. For us, it's 64% humidity, but a high of 84, right? Or at least it's 84 right now, so it feels like 88.
I'm feeling warm now, but I wasn't earlier.
The easiest way for me
Yeah,
to
I'm
know if
back.
it's humid is I just take an ice block out of the freezer, sit it down, and just watch how wet it gets, because it just sucks all the moisture from the room.
Yeah.
So a tide of vermin flooded the chamber, distracting many of the lesser vampires. Rohina was able to cut a swath through them and keep herself distance from the rest of them.
But suffering a wound in the process.
Yes, take his advantage as she does so. Katrine, you haven't been. You're lurking at the back in the shadows. No one's paying attention to you yet. What would you like to do?
Well, probably use my rage, isn't it?
Okay, and who do you want to
Yeah.
direct your rage at? There are the lowly, ghoulish vampires that are distracted by the vermin horde already. And then there is the bloated countess sat between the numerous idols covered in blood.
Well, the countess.
So do you want to describe in glory what your rage is like against her?
Like a fiery vengeance that it just comes like what's called it's electrifying, and it's like ah. So it's just like
So you're like leaping through the air at great speed,
Yeah.
claws.
basically because for the fact that she none of them saw me coming, so it's a kind of shock to the system for her, as in this just attack, full on attack.
Okay, and so how do you slay her? What would you need to do to kill an elder vampire like that?
Through like my big claws, just taking out her gullet.
So you're ripping her organs out of her body.
Yeah.
Yes, so bloated with blood she is. She's basically immobile. Which is, and you've already got the advantage in terms of speed and surprise from the shadows, coupled with your supernatural rage. You're like your own living bullet as you like tear into her chest, ripping the skin apart at first and then the muscle and tissue before getting right into the organs themselves. And finally, you grasp her heart between two hands and yank it from her chest, still beating above her, and just like tear it in half with your claws and guzzle on the blood greedily as it like runs down your arms.
Dude.
Her body just like shrivels and turns. She doesn't even get to scream. She just kind of like gurgles and fades into dust around you. As the power of the ritual, the sacrament, is channeled into you, multiplying the powers of the seer, tenfold. And you're able to see like all these paths into the future. You're basically able to like predict things momentarily before they happen, and coupled with your tremendous strength means you're able to react to everything before it happens. Clearing the rest of the chamber is like a matter of nothing for you because you're able to see everything before it happens, before it goes, and anticipate it, and your speed allows you to actually take actions before they've even planned what it is they're going to do. And you cut a bloody swathe through the rest of the vampire horde, leaving the chamber just a pile of bodies and blood, which all the vermin readily feast upon. And Rohina and Rom, you're kind of just like, within a few blinks of an eye, you're just sort of like staring in wonderment, like, what the fuck has she done?
It's like, why did I even bother getting this sword out?
Right.
But
I'll just start clapping my hands.
Katrina's just like drenched head to toe completely in vampire blood.
Nice.
I have seen your prophecies.
I
Your
am.
death.
I am Katrine. I am the head of the vampires.
The chamber begins to rumble. Rocks fall from the ceiling. The idols that were sticking up from the dirt where they've been uncovered start to swell and glow. The whole chamber shakes as if there's an earthquake happening. Katrine, you can see what's about to happen. You can see the city and the church in particular falling into this cavern,
We need to.
encasing the idols below.
We need to go. We need to go. It's going to just crumble.
And with your speed, you are able to escape the wands easily before it comes crashing down behind you. Not the whole city caves down, obviously, but the church falls deep into the cavern, leaving just a massive pit hole on the surface above, burying the idols below.
We had a feast and a half, eh?
Very Scottish answer to it. And that's about as long as I wanted to run the session for.
Annihilation of 2 covens.
I mean, they started it. Now we can build our own.
Yeah, she's a bit of a quiet assassin, isn't she? In a sense, she's like, get that rage.
I think you kind of bow her to be quite seductive seer, but then her power was like the exact opposite.
Yeah. I mean, it always helps to have
I
a
suppose she's like
ace in the hole.
Two-Face, isn't she? She's Two-Face. She's like the seductress, and then if you mess with her, like this
Crazy woman.
animal, animalistic woman comes out, just like just this animal.
See, when you said when you were trying to describe your rage there, obviously Paula got me some dinosaur balloons to celebrate my birthday, and on one of the birthdays it says "rawr." So all I just saw you was just basically just being a tiny dinosaur, just going "hurrah."
It's so funny.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good wee one shot. That was good.
Yeah. The only thing is, like I said, Lucifer's doesn't tell you how many harm you're supposed to take before they're kaput.
Is the system called Blood and Wine or?
Blood and Wine, yeah, it's a free one. It's on itch.
I'll have to
So
check
it's
that out.
the tall vampire lady one, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's community copies. I think it's like $5 for that one, but it's essentially the same thing.
Really
Nice.
I really liked your voice, Callum. It's just so hilarious. See, at times I was just I had to stop and just laugh. I was laughing so much.
It's just in my head,
would-
it's a funny thing because it just sounds like our coven is very animalistic, and she's just like, why am I here?
Yeah.
The posh one. You're
Yeah,
the
you
black
were-
sheep of the family.
You were very much a lady.
It's like writing letters to other covens to please accept me.
Please, for
It's
the
just,
love of God.
I'm imagining the feast as she's trying to eat with she is trying her utter best to be dignified and cultured, and she's trying to eat very daintily a meal while other people are looking at her going, "You don't need to eat. Why are you eating?"
Rat face is beside her, face covered in blood, with his human leg in one hand. What are you doing?
I was just probably a rat hanging out of my mouth.
Yeah, the rat tail.
And it's a constant. I imagine every so often, in her coffin, you just drop a couple of rats for her to wake up with. It's this feud between them.
I feel like my character was Dust Till Dawn. What was her name? I can't remember her name that played Dust Till Dawn. The one in the Selma Hayek, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
She was the vampire, and she's like the seductress, but then she's like, "Rawr."
You're the seer. You weren't the seductress. That was Rowena.
Yeah.
I had the seductress.
Seductive style, yes.
Yes.
But then
yeah.
you weren't being very seductive though.
Yeah,
That's the
what I'm
saying. Your
saying. But-
character's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, but was she not like all over the place as well? Because she was seductress, but then she was just like pure like.
No, she's
It's like-
seductress and then she was vampire. That's
Right,
two things she
okay,
did.
I suppose
But
so.
you're also a seer, and then you've got the other end of it where you've just got rage.
Yeah, I mean she's a bit bipolar.
No, that was great. That was fun.
Yeah, well, thanks for playing. I had to play something tonight because I could not find a game to play myself.
I
Fair
see
enough,
a little
fair enough.
birthday treat, like a good way of finishing off my day.
Happy
Yay.
birthday!
Yay, I'm an old man.
Was it actually today or was it like yesterday?
It is today. Today is my birthday.
Oh,
Oh,
happy
Oh,
birthday.
happy
Birthday.
birthday! You're one step closer to the grave.
No, it's all good. Like, I had a nice time. Like this morning, had to do proper chore stuff, looking for gardening things, like going building merchants and browsing stuff. And then I had to deal with Paula's parents, which is fun. And I say that with air
Yeah.
quotes. And I had to meet one of their dogs, who is a huge dog, and I'm very scared of big dogs.
Right.
So that was fun.
So you had
It
a
was
good
exhausting.
day.
So I got back and then I just needed to nap. I was just like, I am
Mhm.
tired from having to socialize. Napped, woke up,
God, I feel that.
had Indian, and while eating the Indian, I got Dark's message, and I'm just like, that's a nice little finish off for the day.
Yeah, no, he sent me the three options, and I was like, stop. I read tall vampire women, and immediately got interested.
We could do that one in our time. These are playing. It's called Tall Vampire Ladies. The system, I think. It's just the same. It's very similar
called-
system, but it says the premise is your tall vampire ladies and like your castle mansion has an intruder that you have to deal with.
It's literally Lady Dimitrescu, the simulator.
Yeah, but you're all
Oh my
like tall
God.
vampire ladies in it.
It
Amazing.
would be like interesting because you know how we're doing it, the runner at the moment, where it's like the shortest and the tallest.
Oh jeez.
Well, see, it's reference onto Resident Evil 8, which has a
I'm
tall
playing-
vampire lady.
I'm playing Colin the Mole, Callum, and the runner.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like these blades for fingers and stuff.
And he's short.
And he's short. And he's against the tallest. So
But yeah, I can maybe do the other one. I may do the other one at Halloween or something. It'd be kind of fun.
Alright, well, that was fun. Probably gonna go for dinner now, so
Yeah,
I'll catch y'all
get on, man.
catch y'all later.
have a nice dinner.
See you later, man.
Catches.
Thanks, bye.
See you later, Cam.